Hey folks, it's Maxie here and welcome to our TEW2020 video. We are back with some AEW Wednesday Night Dynamite and we have another show on the road to full gear as we continue to put that card together. So I'm just going to address something before we get into today's episode. There's something major that will happen, you'll see it on the pre-show, but it does get addressed on the actual show itself. We have taken significant steps forward to ensure we have the best commentary team in the business. And whilst we will still get a penalty for obviously no experience together, I certainly believe the recruits we've made today, or during the week towards this episode, should be enough to ensure we no longer get that. We'll try and utilise the likes of Tony Schiavone and Renee Paquette in other roles. Basically maybe have like a pre-show show with Renee Young or something, but Renee Paquette, because we've spent money on her, we may as well use her. But yeah, I feel like it's unrealistic, these acquisitions. Well, one is, but they had 90 colour commentary, so we went for it. So without further ado, we'll crack on. As I say, we're continuing to build the programmes. Hope you enjoy. Let's do this. So here we are in Kent, Washington, in front of a sold out 10,000 capacity. Straight off the bat you can see it there. CM Punk debuted the straight edge gimmick, which was poor. Don Callis debuted his staff member gimmick, which was awful. The announcing lifted the match. The colour commentary gave the match a boost. Your new announced team is CM Punk, Don Callis and Miro Ronaldo. We'll crack on with that though, there is a segment dedicated to it. In terms of our pre-show, I'm just going to stick with these just now. I think when we do go to two brands, I think we will end up having a third show, which will just be an hour, just to give them more exposure, because whilst they're having the matches here, they're not really gaining much pop, because obviously the only people seeing them are the people in attendance. So I may look to eventually just have that 1 hour. Basically put Dark on its own again, but just try and get as many eyes on it as possible. But we had Anna Jay defeat Jamie Hayter in 9:01 by pinfall. This was a 36, a 28 for Anna Jay and a 39 for Jamie Hayter. So a long way for them both to develop. We had a matchup that saw Sir Brody Lee defeat Michael Nakazawa. Love doing that. In 52 seconds with a running big boot. They actually got a 71, so that could have been quite close to a main event match on Dynamite. So Brody Lee really stood out there in this squash match. First time I've really utilised the match under a minute for a long time. Brian Pillman Jr. gets the win over Shawn Spears with a tornado DDT. This was a 61. Pillman was 66 to Shawn Spears' 51. And we had Chris Statlander defeat Indy Hartwell in 9:40. This was a 42. A 46 performance to Indy's 29. Chris Statlander was off her game. But still, obviously, both of these are both really young. I think they're both under 24, so a long way in their development, and hopefully they can become really good workers for us down the line. We also had the trio of Kingstons Paradise, Eddie Kingston, Luster and Peter Avalon, and they pick up the win over El Lindemann, T-Hawk and Austin Gunn, where Eddie Kingston pinned Austin Gunn with a backdrop driver, a 47. Austin's just got really good overness in this, so I may as well try and put some of that on other guys. But another W for Peter Avalon, he's starting to pick up the wins, and alongside the dangerous Luster and Eddie Kingston, they are a formidable lower trio at the moment, but big things are happening. And your main event has completely put paid to the programme I was going to put together, so good job I tested it in the pre-show. So that idea's been scrapped. So Chris Jericho and Scorpio Sky defeated the Hybrid 2 in 8:39 when Scorpio Sky pinned Angelico with a blackout. 58, you can see there, Jericho down to a 63 compared to an 81 he's had in solo matches, with them having zero chemistry. So I can give the idea of the story because I'm not going to use it now, having seen that. The plan was, I really wanted to push Scorpio Sky, and I felt like him alongside Chris Jericho could propel him with Jericho's really high, obviously, overness and popularity and mic skills. But if they get zero chemistry, then Y2 Sky, as it was, is no longer going to happen. So a bit gutted with that, but that's a good thing with the pre-show. You can obviously try these kind of things on live events as well, but that's just too much micromanagement. I'd rather just test it in a dark match and see how it goes. So, no more Jericho and Sky. But I believe that was the main event for Dark, so let's crack on to our episode of Dynamite then. So we start the show, and it's only a 69, but it's Mick Foley coming out, and he basically says for a long time, you know, they've been looking to just bring the best coverage possible to AEW, and obviously the constant wanting the best announced team possible. Mick Foley went out and made some moves. He spoke to Cody, who very just replied yes, so the communication is not great because Cody's still on hiatus, obviously still enjoying his vacation. Kenny was very much on board with bringing in Don Callis, so he was in, again, his colour commentary's 90. Now I'm going to let you in on a wee secret here with CM Punk. So the deal I've signed with Punk is not to be involved in ring, so he won't be wrestling at any point, but the deal is just 6 months long, and my reason for that was, if I can find the right programme for him, even though he's retired, I can work it around where Punk would compete, and obviously 6 months time would set him up for a potential programme around Double or Nothing, and if not then for All Out 2022. So it's under consideration, but at the moment there is no plans until then for CM Punk to be in the ring. He will strictly just be a colour commentator, and we can also use the angle that Renee reached out to him, spoke to him, and Punk went, you know what, if it's good wrestling, I'll quite happily talk about it. But as I say, completely unrealistic. AEW went from a commentary team of Jim Ross, Excalibur and Tony Schiavone, obviously JR passing in the save, and now we have Mauro Ranallo, CM Punk and Don Callis. So I'll be intrigued to see how it affects our main events going forward, but at least if we can get rid of the pressures of that, we can just let the guys wrestle and girls wrestle and see how good they can do. But the announcing quality lifting the segment, that's a good thing I like to keep seeing, and hopefully that can just make better things for our workers. So 69, the pressure is on then for a really big segment in tonight's show. After this we cut to the announcers. Obviously, well, we can just say really it's Mauro Ranallo bigging up what's going to happen in tonight's main event while the others make their way to the announce booth. But we are going to see a couple of feuds combine effectively, as Jon Moxley, who's got his feud with Sammy Guevara in the Inner Circle, will team up with PAC, who's got his feud with MJF and the rest of Uprising, and they take on the heavies of both teams in the form of Wardlow and Jake Hager. So looking forward to that one. That should be a blockbuster main event. Hope I can get about an 80 for that one. As I say, if we can keep that kind of line, I'm quite happy, just till we get to the point where we can potentially negotiate new television deals. So we start off in action, and we have a tag team matchup. An abysmal match saw the Jurassic Express, Jungle Boy and Luchasaurus, defeat the Butcher and the Blade in 8:28 when Jungle Boy pinned the Blade. 54, now it's obviously just building more momentum for the Jurassic Express towards Full Gear and the number one contender match with, their championship match with Santana and Ortiz. I feel a bit frustrated for Butcher and Blade. Obviously they're always in a good position that they can put teams over, but I just can't seem to get them a good wave and momentum, so they must be like the most 50-50 book team there is. Then I have a promo with Mercedes Varnado as she cuts a promo hyping the upcoming match at Full Gear with Chris Statlander. 60, which is good. Mercedes here just basically calls her a freak, a weirdo, thinking she's an alien. Why can she not just handle herself like class like Mercedes Varnado? She's coming here to just show that how inferior this division is, and that she is an icon in women's wrestling. Next up we had a match with two pre-show workers, which is a shame as we continue to build up Dr. Britt Baker, DMD. She gets the win over Big Swole in 6:14 by pinfall. A 26 performance from Big Swole, 38 from Dr. Britt Baker, and that's with Big Swole off her game. We cut a promo with Dr. Britt Baker, giving her as much time as we can to get herself over, and she just continues to say, mark my words, this is going to be my year next year. I'm going to show the world that he's been missing that I'm not only a fantastic dentist, a great wrestler, and a good mum, because obviously she's a mum in game now, but she is going to be the face of the AEW Women's Division in 2022. More women's action, and it's about to hit some decent reaction from the crowd and some subpar wrestling. Akari Hojo defeat Ashley Lane in 8:42 with the spear. A very respectable 64. I'm happy with it, as I say, Hojo's 66, Ashley Lane's a 59. two good workers that I felt had good overness as well and would combine in a good matchup, and kind of like the pinnacle of the women's division we've got at the moment, and where we need to aspire to get the rest to join them. But I want to get in a position where the women at all levels can constantly hit in 70 rated matchups, and then hopefully further than that down the line. After the matchup though, with Kairi Hojo picking up the win, she's obviously celebrating with Saraya, her friend, but they're beaten down by the three members of the Blonderage, because let's just pretend Ashley Lane has blonde hair again, and Hart, Penelope Ford and Ali have the three to beat down and stand tall. So a 46 here. Obvious plans is for a matchup at Full Gear, and it will likely see Saraya and Hojo take on Penelope Ford and Ali. So just giving a lot of women's matches away at Full Gear to really give them the spotlight. Next up, we have got a promo, a rap from Max Caster and Anthony Bolton saying that the Acclaimed has arrived, and this got a 33, so they're slowly getting these segments a bit more over, they're getting more overness, and they are in an upcoming matchup with the EU, not the European Union, but in this instance it's with European Uppercuts. Or you could say European Union, because it's an alliance of two European wrestlers, and it's a matchup that was abysmal as Miro and Claudio Castagnoli defeated the Acclaimed in 7:03 when Miro made Max Caster submit. So great chemistry, as we know, that's why they're now paired together. At 58, good to see the announcing and the colour commentary are giving the match a boost, so that's not going to be a problem anymore. And Max Caster was off his game, but we're slowly surely giving the Acclaimed the experience. My only worry is they're going to take a lot of defeats, so they're going to have a poor momentum, but hopefully their overness is in a position where they can start picking up wins down the line. Good win for the EU though, really looking forward to utilising them in a hopeful thriving tag team in 2022. There's big plans for the tag division and the trios division, and hopefully we can act on that. Moving along, speaking of tag divisions, the women's tag division, and we had an abysmal matchup that saw the team of the Dark Orders Abaddon and Priscilla Kelly, and they defeated Kaylee Ray and Tennille Dashwood in 7:52, and Abaddon pinned Tennille Dashwood. This was a 46, the four ladies are all pretty similar, I would say, in performance. Kaylee Ray the latter of that, but obviously we're looking to go with a push with the women of the Dark Order, and Abaddon and Kelly pick up the win. This leads to them being backstage, and Sir Brody Lee says to them, do you know what? Or what, because he's not going to say what, that's Scottish. But he says, I'll have a word with Mick Foley. I think Full Gear, Abaddon and Priscilla Kelly challenge Mayu Iwatani and Riho for the AEW Women's Tag Team Championships. Abaddon's got that kind of weird kind of nodding, like she's not right there. She's not quite there, but she's kind of like yep, and Kelly's still a bit kind of, well, I guess she's a weirdo, Abaddon, but we'll tag with her, and that's a 59 rated segment. Moving on, we had the in-ring debut of War Machine, and it was about the terrible wrestling and non-existent crowd heat. War Machine defeat Sonny Kiss and Joey Janela in 6:07 when Raymond Rowe pinned Sonny Kiss with a fallout. 58, unfortunately Sonny does the job again. I'm hoping though, with all these matches, that fair enough they're losing a lot, but I'm hoping because they're always of good workers that Sonny Kiss and Joey Janela can really get good and really enhance themselves. Janela's in a good position, he's in ring. Sonny's still not the most over. Hopefully we can get them there, but a 58, and again this colour commentary is helping, which is good to see. This leads to a promo after the match from, of course, the leader of End of War, which is Tommy End, and he just says last week was just, you know, a kind of warning to AEW. Not only are Orange Cassidy, Trent and Chuck Taylor marked men, but most of the roster is. We've been held back for years and we are just so frustrated and ready to just kick some ass, and we'll start at Full Gear by taking those AEW Trios Championships. So 60 rated segment there, book that one in. Tommy End, Raymond Rowe, Hanson, Age of War, or End of War, sorry, and they will take on Best Friends, Orange Cassidy, Trent and Chucky T. Moving on next, we had had some subpar wrestling and little heat as Darby Allin picked up the win over Brandon Cutler in 5:26 with a coffin drop, a 70. 30 performance from Brandon Cutler, 89 from Darby, who's shone in this match, although has a bit of a stale gimmick. But of course, him and Priscilla have excellent chemistry as she accompanies him to the ring. And I was going to say, after this matchup, the lights go out, it's flickering, that thunderstorm kind of noise, the drum beat goes, the lights go out. Step forward, Darby Allin's opponent for Full Gear for the TNT Championship. The man, if you've been paying attention, you maybe have an idea who it was. Welcome, Prince David. Now, I know the thing says he assaulted Darby Allin, he's just ignored that part. I couldn't find an angle to portray what I wanted to do here, but basically appears on screen and just says, well, I'm finally here in AEW, the Prince has arrived, and I can think of no better way than to start off with a matchup with Darby Allin, give the fans a dream match that they truly want. So he debuts the beloved veteran gimmick, which got an initial rating of great, because he's like in his 40s, which is highly depressing that somebody so good is in their 40s and probably not too many years ahead of them, and a physical decline on the horizon. But we knew for weeks that he had signed. I'd already announced that on previous episodes, and there's a lot where, I know it's a lot of WWE signings and a lot of signings regardless, but please remember, one, we're going to two brands, and two, if you don't sign them straight off the bat, then you don't get them for 3-4 years. And there's people that I've mostly signed that I feel are people that would make the jump, are people that are more wrestlers rather than the sports entertainers. So you'll see the likes of Prince Devitt, AJ Styles come over, but you wouldn't get the likes of a Mojo. It's just, they're a notice. That's not kind of people that would make the move or fit the mould. So I'm happy with it. It's a really good debut, and there shouldn't be too many. There is still more debuts to come. There's people lined up that have been signed because they became available. They fit the idea I wanted to do, and it's just a case of the right storyline. And once we get that second show, and I'm going to cry if we don't get a second show, so I'm going to have to go 3 hours every week. But 69, and his overness isn't the greatest. It's in the mid-60s, which is frustrating, because then you have to try and build him up, because he should be in any company a main event talent for sure. Next up, we have Sammy Ivana coming down to the ring to do colour commentary, which is a 74. I must say, I'm quite worried this is our actual highest segment. So we really need a promo or an angle to really deliver, or we could be looking at a pop loss. So I thought Punk, Don Callis and Foley would have worked, but not quite. But Sammy's come down to watch that main event, that tag team matchup. And while that happens, we see that Jurassic Express and Proud and Powerful are having an all-out brawl. So no Santana and Ortiz at ringside, no Jurassic Express as well. So it does leave Sammy Guevara and Hager as the two from their respective faction. So that's a 68. Don Callis could have done better as a road agent, so maybe just put him into commentary only. And the main event was not great either. It was okay. It was a superb matchup, and with Jon Moxley and PAC defeat Jake Hager and Wardlow in 18-19 when Moxley pinned Wardlow with a Death Rider. Wardlow was a weak link, struggling to keep up with everyone else's in-ring performances. A 62 is still okay, he was off his game, but great performances there from PAC, Moxley. I thought they'd have carried it a lot more, and I gave it over 15 minutes to hopefully get a good rating, but 76. Negatives. Wardlow's inexperience, inconsistency, and obviously then his team's low experience, but yeah, a bit disappointed. I thought that maybe would have took the 80s. I thought these two would have carried it a bit more. So we really need to hope this last ending segment delivers, or we are losing pop. But I think once we get Cody back and the Hangman back, we're really going to have to stack our main events again. We've took a few risks and gave people opportunities. It's just making sure we're getting shows that are equivalent to our pop level. And I think we might see Rey Fenix back from his wee break as well. Not that there's anything wrong with Rey Fenix, I just had nothing for him creatively. And when the show, an 82, because obviously Sammy is there at the announce desk, and there's no one else to help him because, you know, Hager's just lost. Jon Moxley gets a bit of revenge, and he puts Sammy Guevara through a table. I think this one will probably be a 76 overall. Both guys come out looking excellent. Really looking forward to their cage match at Full Gear. And you learn so much about the game, you can predict your score right off the bat. So overall 76, losing pop in the US and Canada. What I'll say as well is, you need to remember, in the US and Canada in game, the economy's low, the wrestling industry's low. That could be playing a huge factor as well. But I feel like our main events haven't been great, but we're really getting a lot over in terms of mid-card guys and women. So hopefully down the line we can do some good things. But I think you'll probably see maybe a few people that will be getting good ratings maybe get pushed towards the top of the card, just to make sure we're safe every week. Because if we keep losing pop, that drop down to region is going to be too big, so we need to stay at the size we're at and try and get a wee bit of safety net. We do gain popularity everywhere else, but it's purely because there isn't much there. So we'll see if anything's happening. Hopefully there's not too much going on in the world. Oh my god, man. You get to that stage, I don't want to keep signing people, and then somebody pops up that absolutely we want to bring AEW. The fact is that WWE are not going to offer him a contract. He is 41, and he's only at 60 over this. His popularity's kind of, let's put it the same, 64. And if you, well, let's be honest, we're signing Nakamura. Absolutely going after Nakamura to AEW. Not going after Danny Burch, but we'll go for him. And Tony Nese signs with PWG. Lance Archer signs a new contract. That's fine. He's back for another year. He's on a written contract, so that's fine. Stu Grayson, just give him 75%. That's fine. Looking to just do a contract renewal. Ricky Starks, Ali, and Matt Hardy. I was going to let Matt go, and then I remember he's a road agent as well, so he'll more so be putting people over, but conducting fantastic road agent duties. Filler contracts, Michael Nakazawa, Leva Bates, well, both get contracts actually, because you need enhancement talents, and they're both fantastic at that role. Kylie Ray is charismatic, that's one thing we'll look at down the line. 2.33, so we've lost a lot in terms of our figures there. And Joey Janela needs some momentum, that's fine. We're still 2 points over, but if it keeps going at this rate, I think once the actual TV deals come up, we'll just go for late evening. Prime time's going to be too risky with the product we're in. But yeah, the big one will be Full Gear with that new pay-per-view deal with Dish Mexico. I can feel we could make a lot more money, because obviously Huge is a lot bigger than what we were on. But it's still a long way to go in terms of our TV deals. And obviously we don't have the finances where we can go and spend big money. We're actually down in money already at the moment. I think I did put a wee bit in the media. But if we keep, I know it's 16 million, but you can see there the last couple of months we've just been kind of breaking even. So I don't want to go out and splash mega bucks and then we end up in debt and I kill the save. So let's try and not do that. But I've done enough. Thank you very much for watching. Hopefully you'll join us for next week's show, or a show in a few days' time in real life, where we'll be basically putting together the go home show and hopefully a really good Full Gear pay-per-view. So thanks for watching, take it easy, and I promise one day I'll stop signing WWE cast-offs. But until then, Twitter Maxwell, see you soon. Bye bye.